So Bernie, Fatima, it's very, very nice to meet you, and thank you for agreeing to talk to SameU about your experiences with N-ROL and UCL.
We're very happy to be part of this. Thank you so much for having us as well.
Great. I think it's probably good to sort of treat this like a storytelling.
Okay.
And it would be really helpful to put it in perspective. So could you tell me a little bit about what happened to you with your stroke?
Yes, well, I think I had a first mini stroke at the end of February, which wasn't properly diagnosed and certainly not treated properly by Barnet General Hospital. But then on April the 18th, I had a more serious stroke and was rushed to the National.
Right.
And kept as an inpatient there for 5 days and then discharged, partly, I guess, because COVID was at its height at the time and they were pushing people out as quickly as they could. So I didn't get a huge amount of follow-up treatment at the hospital. I mean, the hospital were great, but you know, the therapy was limited. I had a couple of physio sessions and an occupational therapist and a neuro specialist who assessed me. And then I was then referred to the local area Enfield stroke team for follow-up therapy. And they came in a few times without being particularly helpful, I found. And then we were told about N-ROL and the idea of online therapy with various different programs, mainly run by Catherine Dugan and on the physical side, Ben Beer, both of whom I can't speak highly enough of. They were fantastic throughout.
Could I ask you, Bernie, could I interrupt you and just say, how did you find out about N-ROL? Was it your community team telling you?
Can I step in here for that? Well,
Yeah,
because of COVID, it's going to take some time. I said, everything tells us the sooner he gets treatment, the better chance he has. So please help me. I don't want to lose him.
Yeah. Yes.
And
Wow.
but you know, they came. The ambulance came so quick. You know, as soon as I put the phone down, there was a knock on the door. They came in, assessed him, and I gave them the letter that I had arrived the day before. I said, you know, they need to know this is what's happened to him previously. And they said, okay. I said, I'm ready. Because I had my jacket on, I had the bag, I had the medication is already on, you know, it's like in the bag. So I'm ready to. They said, no, you can't come with us to the hospital. I said,
because of COVID. Yeah.
Because of COVID. And it's just me here, you know?
So difficult.
Okay?
Yeah.
And I said, okay, I'll jump in my car and I'll meet you at the hospital. They won't let you in. And I said, what do you mean they won't let me in? Oh, because of COVID, they're not letting anyone in. I said, I'm going to try. I'll meet you at Barnet. I said, sorry, this is too serious. We're not taking him to Barnet. We're taking him to the National. Yeah. I have never, Claire, heard of the National. I was so ignorant.
Well, you see, this is one of the things. How many people really understand where to go when you've had a brain injury or a stroke? And the National Hospital is the best in the UK.
I know that now.
People don't know about it. So
I know that now.
Absolutely. Well, it's wonderful that you went there. I've been there. I had my aneurysm coiled there. I've got 2 aneurysms and one was coiled, and my daughter was there as well. So it's a wonderful hospital. So we're very confident that the work that we're doing with UCL, because Queen Square, the National is part of UCL, that we're really working with, you know, some of the world's leading experts. So perhaps you could just go on to how you found. Were you worried when you found? So you had the care. You came back. I understand. You didn't get good in community care, probably because of COVID.
Yes, very much to that.
And
People were scared to come in.
Exactly. And you must be scared to let them in.
Well, I didn't think about it myself. I was so desperate for some help because my husband was discharged so early that I wasn't very happy for him to. I wasn't allowed to see him in hospital.
No.
Okay, all right. My only communication was the telephone. That's the only. I hadn't seen him. I don't know what I was getting back. I started preparing our front room with, with the day bed. That kind of thing. They said the therapists, the OT at the Nationals kept saying to me, messages saying, you need to send us pictures of the layout of your house. And I said, my goodness, I said, this is really quite, I was frightened. I was very, very frightened that my husband was going to be discharged after, was it 5 days, Bernie?
It was 5 days.
Yeah, 22nd. So he went in on the 18th.
Yeah.
And they started talking to me about discharging you. And their main concern was COVID. That's all I kept getting.
Definitely.
COVID. And I said, a stroke would kill him. I take my chance with COVID.
But you see that, so that the whole NHS were doing everything they possibly could to free up beds for people who were literally not going to survive.
Yeah.
And then it's not a good place for somebody who's got a stroke or heart disease to be when COVID is all around in the hospital. So it's for your protection as well.
Yes, yeah. So I think your question was, when did I first hear about N-ROL?
Yes,
I think it might have got mentioned whilst I was in the hospital, but it certainly got mentioned from the local community team.
And because that happened because I kept breaking down, and they saw that I was going down. I lost so much weight. I wasn't sleeping, and all the early support team, firstly, they made it very well known to me, all right, that their funding is very limited. They haven't got the number of therapists to cover the whole of our borough, Enfield, So there's just a limited number of therapists available to the whole of the borough, and they weren't coping. That's what they said. And also, because of COVID, it's only so much they could do. So what they kept doing is that they bring in things, it's like a printout sheets of information about stroke that I could easily access online myself.
Yeah.
Okay, through the Stroke Association, everything else. I had that information. I said, I need practical help. My husband can't dress himself. My husband can't shower himself. I'm having to do it all me.
And did N-ROL help you with that? So it'd be good to talk about what treatments you got, Bernie, through N-ROL.
Okay,
and then maybe ask you, Fatima, how it helped you.
Okay, so I think I then got sent. I must have been sent an email, I think. Unfortunately, I'd already got Zoom downloaded onto my computer because earlier in lockdown, one of my friends had arranged a Zoom meeting for a get together of a group of us. So I had used it before, and so I went on to the first session, which was I think probably me, my stroke, and I, with Catherine and others. And I think the what immediately struck me, well, the first time I found it quite difficult to contribute very much.
Was that because of your speech?
Yeah, partly, I think, yes. Just and I was a bit nervous about it and not knowing quite how it would work.
And also you had problems accessing the Zoom. I know you did it before, but at that point, and that's when Pedro stepped in and helped you to log on. So grateful to those people, because Bernie had difficulties in, sort of like with accessing online things. His language, his written language, his type, everything went. I mean, highly educated man. All of a sudden, he
absolutely
logging on couldn't do it. So Pedro was doing it.
Yeah, he did help a lot.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Good. Yes, he's excellent.
Very, very, very. And you were forgetting to log on to things. So there was a constant, every session, there was a call prior to every session,
Yes.
reminding Bernie to log on.
Yes,
Yeah.
excellent.
Carry on.
So Bernie, did you so once you were so your sense of the unknown, it's fearful. You've had a trauma to your whole system. You're trying to recover, but you don't know what this is going to entail or what you're going to have to do. So did you feel, a hard question, were you worried when you realized that it wasn't just one-to-one, it was a number of people on the call? Well, how did that make you feel?
No, I think actually that it worked the other way. That was quite helpful, being a group session, because it meant that you weren't on your own and there were other people. And actually, I sometimes feel a bit guilty about saying this, but on a number of the calls, I felt, well, there are people worse off than me. So, I'm actually not too bad. So it helps quite a lot. And once you started to interact with people, both whoever was running the call and also the other stroke victims that were on the call.
Survivors,
sorry, yes.
That's what you are.
That helps a lot. And the range of different sort of programs that they ran with different therapists. And I got involved with the physical sessions with Ben fairly early on. And I never quite knew why I'd been put on to I knew it was called Physical 3, but I didn't quite know why. I discovered later on that was kind of the highest level, which I guess was a positive. But because I was having problems with my shoulder as well, so
was one side affected more than the other?
Oh yeah, my left side was definitely the side that was affected, and I had a historic difficulty with my shoulder that could be very sore when I was doing physical activity. So Ben then did a one-to-one session with me to try and help with that.
An assessment,
an assessment, and also in all of the actual N-ROL group sessions, he was always very cognizant of the different people that were involved and the challenges that each person had. Yeah. He obviously knew the story about everybody, and so he talked to you kind of directly through those sessions, and that made you feel better as well, I think.
Yes. And did you find that the way that this course was structured, that you had therapies that really covered what you felt you needed?
Oh, definitely. Yes. So there was a communication group, there was the mood group, the cognitive group, obviously, as I said, the physical group, the 2 or 3 meet the doctor sessions.
Yes.
It's amazing.
And which was usually with Alex Leff.
Yes.
And then also the Me, My Stroke and I group. Yeah. And when we knew it was starting to wind down in the summer, some of us, particularly on the communications group, said we'd like to keep this going. Yes. So we got through Catherine and also I think it was Nikki who was doing the communication group. We managed to exchange contact details, and we subsequently set up our own little Zoom group. We now meet every Thursday evening, about 7 or 8 of us now.
Right. And you know each other, and so do you use that just to talk, or do you use it to try and remember the exercises that you were given in N-ROL? Is it
mainly just to talk, but we do kind of reflect back on some of the N-ROL stuff, particularly the physical side, and compare notes a bit, and as usually reference back to, because Ben sent everybody some YouTube videos of the session, so that we could do them on our own if we wanted to afterwards. And he's now put us in touch, some of us in touch with this other charity called Legs, which some of us started doing as well. So
excellent.
I think
and so, is there anything that you would, if we were planning the program again, would there be advice to give us to say that we could do more of one thing, less of another, something that you now reflecting on was missing?
I'm not sure there's anything missing. I think it might be helpful to have like an introductory setup session for people, just so that everybody can understand what the range of activities were going to be and what each one involved and what was expected of you. That would probably be helpful.
Can I just say something about this? I just felt, sort of like the team. I just felt that they knew, sort of like they knew who you are, what your needs are, and they provided, therapy sessions according to your needs, because everything that you had was not a waste of time. It was a wraparound care,
integrated, but also personal. They did very much recognise what your specific needs were, and also your character.
For each one of them, so like Dr. Leff, because Benny had the left-hand side visual neglect. He couldn't even step outside on his own till quite recently. I had to be by his side because he wasn't seeing the traffic coming from the left-hand side. And so Dr. Leff, COVID or no COVID, arranged for us to attend the hospital at Queen Square and did an assessment on him. So like, it's amazing.
Oh, yeah, they're special people.
Oh my God!
But
I'm not all of them.
But that problem, that seems to not, as that worked itself out, you can now.
Yes.
Got vision.
It's getting better.
It's a lot better now. Yeah.
It's getting better, but still there. Yeah.
Yeah. And so you do seem, if you don't mind me saying, remarkably well. You look great. Both of you, actually. You look, not bad at all.
He's working hard.
So it is about hard work and persistence, isn't it? So one question, we're running out of time a bit, but one question is about motivation. Would you like to sort of tell me a little bit about the motivation for keeping on with the exercises and with the therapy?
Well, I think because actually it was quite an enjoyable experience as well, and certainly meeting and mixing with other stroke survivors.
Yes.
And some of them, I think, albeit in a virtual sense, have become quite good friends now.
Right.
So people like Paul Milray, Roger Barkent, Farida, who I think you may have spoken to today as well.
I think Claire has, not yet.
Right.
Yes, yeah.
So they all become good friends, and we as I say, we meet every week. And at one point we'd love to all get together in person, and maybe even to meet up with again with Catherine and Ben and some of the others. If we could, that would be terrific. So we thought about arranging some sort of Christmas party, but
it's not going to happen
with the new lockdown. That's not going to happen. So
no. I am so grateful for N-ROL, because I feel because of COVID, if it wasn't for N-ROL, we would have been abandoned. Literally, this remarkable recovery would not have happened without N-ROL.
Would it be interesting for you to have more sessions, or maybe the question should be, how did you find the sessions for carers? How do you? There wasn't anything too formal for carers, but presumably you were on the calls and you could ask questions. Fatima, is that how
absolutely? I had access to ask the doctor in those early days. A lot of things were happening that I was unsure of, and so I was able to access ask the doctor sessions. And then it was put to me. Then it was suggested to me that I should join the carers cafe. And at that point, I was quite resistant, because I thought, oh my God, it's just another thing to load on me. Where am I going to find this time? But it was the best thing that could have happened to me. Honestly, oh my goodness. And that was with Catherine and 4 other people. Carers. And it was nice to see, that share that, sort of like, that perspective and how the stroke and the continued, sort of living with the stroke, and we still continue to live with it. And it was so needed, and still need it now, really.
Of course. So maybe we could just end up, as we're out of time, just with maybe asking both of you, Bernie first, to really sum up your experience of N-ROL, just in one sentence, a few words. just the key things that just immediately spring to your mind?
Well, I think N-ROL as a overall package was incredibly helpful and really good for all of us who are part of it. It helped enormously in moving my recovery forward. So, and I can't speak highly enough of all the people that were involved in it. Everybody did a fantastic job, whether they were in front of the camera or, as Fatima mentioned earlier, people like Pedro and Joe behind the scenes. So it was a truly wonderful program, and we're very, very grateful to both the N-ROL team and to SameU for sponsoring the program. So
Definitely.
Great.
Very
And
grateful.
Fatima, could you sort of end it by giving your view of N-ROL again?
It saved our life. It saved my mental state, my well-being. It saved me. It saved us. You know, honestly, I will always be so grateful to all of you.
That's fantastic to hear.
Okay. I'm in awe of all these wonderful professionals that
they
picked us up, right, and cradled us throughout. Okay, and I still feel like I belong to this group. And thank you, SameU, for making it happen.
It's our great pleasure.
I'd like to be able to do something back now.
Well, wonderful. That would be great. And what we'll probably do is maybe try and touch base with you again in maybe 3 months, 4 months, just to see how you're getting on.
Yeah,
that would be lovely.
Lovely, yes, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Take care of yourselves, both of you. Very
Bye.
nice.
Very much. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.